It's mikevsbeer. We are in Founders Brewing Company in Grand Rapids. I have the distinct honor, privilege to introduce to all of you Jeremy Kosmicki. He is the brewmaster here at Founders. He's been part of the brewing team for over 20 years. He is directly responsible for the flavors we enjoy. I think you had your hands directly in the all-day IPA. Correct me if I'm wrong. There's the Breakfast Stout series, the KBS series. Like, his product not only has won awards throughout the world, but all of us beer enthusiasts appreciate Founders and appreciate what you have done with your team, of course. But an honor to meet you, Jeremy. We're excited for you to take us into this amazing tour. I hear you're a guitarist too, or a band member, right?
Yeah, dabble in the rock and roll as well.
Rock and roll and beer. What else could you want, man? You're like the coolest guy around.
Well, thanks, Mike. Thanks for the kind words. Happy to show you guys around. Let's get this going.
Okay, so this is that behind the scene tour. So you all wish you could be here, but we're gonna take that tour right to your living room. So if you're watching this at home, sit back, crack a tall, cool one, and enjoy the show, and let's learn about this amazing facility we call Founders.
This is the brew house it all began on. We
Wow.
moved this thing over from the original facility. So it's a 30-barrel system.
Right?
Here, we'll get a better view of it over
Sure.
this way.
The aroma in here, well, obviously we aren't going to be able to transport that in a video, but it smells so good. It's like, this must be heaven.
Yeah. We might start to take it for granted sometimes, but it's a beautiful thing, especially when when this brewery's fired up. Some of the other breweries, the exhaust system is so good that you don't get quite the smells internally as you do brewing on the old system.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So 30-barrel system. It's kind of large for being a pilot system, but it's a pretty good size to keep that tap room full of special one-offs all the time. So pretty much anything out of that tap room that is not produced in a can or bottle and sold out to the world gets made on this.
So you said the magic word. This is the pilot system. This is where you experiment on new flavors and new brews. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, it was for the longest time until I just got this cute little buddy right here.
Whoa. Okay, what do we got? This is like the home brewer's ultimate.
So that's a 1-barrel system. And that's a way to make really small batch stuff. Things we make on here aren't even going to get into the tap room. This is just going to be for internal, working through ideas. Once you get a recipe dialed in, then we'll probably bring it to the next level.
Oh, that's amazing. So you brew 1 barrel. This is how you get up like a salted watermelon, zebra, goze, and all the iterations.
Yeah,
before
get
it gets
weird.
there.
Yep. That's especially for getting weird. When you're brewing at this size as a pilot, you tend to have to be a little on the conservative side. I don't know, we don't want to always be conservative. I want to do stuff that is so bad, I just got to put it right down the drain. But I'm going to know that I took it too far. Don't do that. Scale that back.
Pushing the envelope, right?
But you don't know how far you can go until you have to put it down the drain because you went too far.
Yeah, it's a great philosophy. So I homebrewed for, 3-4 years when Trevor was born. But I learned I screwed up a lot of things. I was such a tightwad, I'd just drink it all. But you don't want to do that with these huge kettles. I appreciate that experimental side.
I don't want to pass that on to our consumers, right? They only want to drink the best stuff. So
yeah, for sure.
So we'll see how far we can push it. We'll get it dialed in. You make a batch for the tap room, and then the things that do the best out there, we'll have an opportunity to get scaled up to bigger brew houses that we'll go on and see where we make our productions.
So you got live feedback loop, first internally amongst your employees, then you start bringing it out in the tap room.
Yeah.
And for those that can't see this, right behind Trevor is the tap house. It's fantastic. We've had many beers there while Trev was a student at GVSU. We'd come here and have a lot of them. But you get immediate consumer feedback. Wow, this one sold out in 3 days. You might be onto something, right?
Exactly. That and just when I go out to have a beer after work, it's fairly common for a consumer to pass along their feedback to me personally. So.
Positive and negative?
Of course.
Yeah. And it's all valuable, right?
Absolutely. So this is how it is here. We have a mash lauter combo. So the grain comes from the mill room, drops right into the mash tun here, mixes it up with hot water, on-demand hot water. False bottom. We recirculate on itself, get it all cleaned up. It's called the Vorloff process.
Nice.
And then we'll send it through this old milk can, which is like we use for a grant. It's got a high and low sensor in there, so you know when it's filled up and ready for that pump to kick on to a higher speed, pumps it over into the kettle. Of course, the kettle's where you're going to boil it, add your hops, anything else you want to add hot side. That is the original system. Now, when we moved into this facility and we started brewing like around the clock to make as much beer as we could, we added this vessel too. It's a whirlpool vessel. It's a way to get out of that kettle sooner, and by doing that, you can start a new batch sooner. So it basically shaved an hour and a half off each brew, and allowed us to get up to, I mean, just this system right here, working around the clock, we went up to upwards of 40,000 barrels a year. So that was
just to this 40,000.
This right here. Yep.
and compared to the fermenting tanks, they're like 3 stories high. Like they're amazing, and then you get 40,000 barrels here.
Yeah, exactly. So we were, working around the clock, and I was still brewing every day at that in those times. But yep, and then we decided that's kind of ridiculous, and we wanted to get even bigger. So we've invested in bigger brew houses, bigger tanks.
Yep.
We just kept adding on to this building. So this was, when we moved in here, this is all part of the original building.
Yep.
You can see the brick is still old.
Yep.
Did some revamping, redid the floors, of course, and some structural stuff. But and then I'll show you that it was just this cellar right here. We just kept piecing onto this building until we filled up the entire city block.
Sure.
This mill satisfies both this brew house and the one next door they're about to see. So if this is a 30 barrel, we have an 80 barrel brew house over here. Actually, there's 2 80 barrel brew houses here. They work in tandem with each other.
Fantastic.
But the mill, you can either go this way to the 30, or you go the other way and takes you over to the 80.
Just shift some lever and it goes in a different direction.
It's just a little lever right there.
Uh-huh.
A lot of it's silos. We have the big silos carry a lot of our bulks that we use in high quantities. Otherwise, we got a bag dump station here where you're still, opening bags and dumping them in there, and they get augered up to the mill and then augered over to whichever mash lauter tun you're filling.
Fantastic.
So with this brew house, with these 80 barrels, like I said, we got 2 of them here. They're also fully automated. So everything over on the 30 barrel, you're doing by hand. You're opening back, shutting valves. You're watching the flow meters for your how much water you're putting in, and you're starting it, stopping it. This brew house is automated. So all the valves are pneumatic. They work on air power, and they go where the computer program tells them they have to go. Each recipe that we make has its own computer program. Because they're all unique, and we got them all dialed in. So basically, Andrew just presses start, and then he sits there and looks at the screen all day. Just kidding. Oh, there's still plenty to do. Because there's 2 brew houses here, it takes a lot of multitasking. You start one on this side, well, now you start another one an hour later on this side, 2 hours later.
Sure.
And it's exercise in multitasking. So like I said, this was the original brewery, up to that wall, and up to that wall. And this little brew house was enough to keep some of these tanks full. Keep most of these tanks full. You can see they're all different size tanks. These are the little guys. There's 20 barrels and 30 barrels and a couple of 60 barrels, but they basically go with this brew house.
Okay.
And then as the tanks get bigger, this is these are 100 barrel tanks. It's about 1 turn off an 80 barrel. You go into these tanks right here.
Wow. Now on a tank like this, relatively speaking, I'm thinking of my homebrew experience.
Yeah.
You might get a vial this big of active yeast, and you pour it into 5 gallons.
Yeah.
How much yeast do you pour in?
Well, that was that used to be a yeast brink of ours. That used to be full of yeast.
Oh my gosh.
And now it's these tanks. These 2 on the end. So we propagate our own yeast now.
Right.
Which means we get a strain going and we just feed it. You feed it sugar to grow cells, and then you take that and you pitch it into the next batch. You grow enough so that you can pitch all your beers that week.
Yep.
But now we have an ale strain. We have multiple ale strains and multiple lager strains too. So
totally different yeast. Yep.
So when I started here, I was a staunch supporter of keeping 1 yeast, and I picked my favorite ale yeast, and we made all our beers off of that because that was all I wanted to manage. But now we have a proper yeast guy and a microbiologist, and we have the tools in place. So we've gotten a little more experimental with the yeast strains over the last 10 years or so.
Yeah.
So eventually we needed more room, right? What do? You just build another building. Now this used to be a courtyard back here behind the building. And we said, all right, well, let's build another room for tanks and we'll make the ceilings even taller because that's where the volume's at. You don't want to go, a whole lot wider. Just go up. So we made the ceilings a little taller. And now into these tanks, you can fit 3, sometimes 4 turns off of that 80 barrel brew house. 3 or 4 turns will fill this thing up.
So that would be 300
barrels, 300 barrels, yep.
Wow. I feel like I'm walking into the engine room of the Titanic. Like everything is massive.
Continue to watch your head, gentlemen.
For sure. Wow. And now, not to be overlooked, it's spotless in here. Like the floors you don't see any residual standing water, a puddle here or there. All the stainless steel, there's no dust on anything. This is like food grade quality cleanliness happening.
We are a food processing facility. Honestly, we maybe even more so. We need to be careful because beer can be spoiled very easily, right? There's so much wild yeast in the air everywhere. You just have to do everything you can to make sure you keep, like you said, standing water, get that out of there, clean up any mold spots. Mold wants to grow with right around here. So we are very diligent about that. It always have been, and I think that's a huge key to our success.
Yeah. But to manage that on a facility this size, I mean, it's a very high priority. Now,
ask any brewer, and they'll tell you we are glorified janitors because we spend most of our time cleaning up after ourselves. Yep. Okay, so this was the end of the building at one point, and then we filled it up with tanks, and we needed more stuff. So, man, all right. There's still room on the city block, so we added on another section, and we did the ceilings. We made them even taller, so we could get even taller tanks in here. And now we're looking at like 400 to 500 barrel tanks.
Are these the tanks I see from the parking lot?
No, not yet.
Oh, not yet. Okay.
No.
Oh, wait, there's more.
We're working our way up to that.
This is awesome.
That's one of our centrifuges. That's how we, at the end of when the beer is done, we want to spin all of these solids out of it, all the yeast particles, any hot particles. That thing spins it around with centrifugal force and spits out a beautiful, clear product.
So, does 100% of the beers you brew go through this? Or depending on the style, like a lager or a pilsner, does, but a hazy doesn't, or they do a little bit, or less?
It depends how hazy I want it to be. So I have some beers that we send out to the world that I still will rather gently put them through there, so it at least spins some of the solids out. Leaves a nice haze behind, helps with the mouthfeel still, but I can't be putting a bunch of yeast into a can of beer that I'm going to send out to California or something. It's just, it's not a good idea. So pretty much everything goes through there.
Okay, good. Really, this is so awesome.
Good, I'm glad you like it. I like showing the place off. There's
fermentation
going, yeah.
See that? We got a bubbler. This is carbon dioxide being off-put from all that yeast breaking down. That's the party is going on in here now.
This tank is partying. It's a tank of breakfast stout. It's active fermentation. Of course, a byproduct of the fermentation process is alcohol and also CO2. So you got to let it vent out, or else you're going to blow the tank up. And this is how you do it. Keep it submerged under there because you don't want anything by chance coming back up in the tank. So you bubble it out through some sanitizer. And
what's amazing is the airlock system is exactly like a homebrew system would use. Yep. It's just bigger.
A little bigger scale.
Yep. Here's another one. This one's rocking and rolling. Another breakfast stout. Wait, two full fermenting tanks of breakfast stout. In the end, do you blend them for consistency, or will they be bottled like, hey, this is its own batch and that's its own batch?
I would guess that these two being so close in time, they're going to get blended.
Okay.
So this was the end, and then we decided we need more room. So this section finished off the rest of the city block. We got a huge bottling line and a huge canning line, and and the new brew house is 300 barrels, so 10 times the size of the first brew house I showed you.
Wow!
Let's go check that out first, and then we'll look at some packaging.
Yeah, sounds great. Oh, there's that aroma again.
Yeah, you can smell it under here.
Ah.
So they're brewing upstairs. So this is the underside. This is the underbelly. Well, here, let's take a look at this real quick while we're here.
More centrifuges.
It's not the pretty side. The up top is like the toury part, but this is actually where all the action happens.
Yeah,
so
sure.
These are actually hop dosers, okay?
Oh.
So with these brew houses, you can't be opening the manways during boil to put in hops. On our 30 barrel, we still do, but these boil so hard and they recirculate as they boil, and it's very dangerous. The Germans would never let you open a vessel while it's in process. So what you do is you load these things up with all your hops.
Oh, yeah.
And then when the computer knows it's time for a hop dose, it brings some hot wort down into there to mix it up and pumps it back into the kettle. So it just doses it right for you. You'll come out when it's done, you open it up, it's totally clean, and you reload it again for the next hop dose.
What an awesome display of your automation here.
Right?
Super cool. Like, people thought Henry Ford had figured something out with the production line of the automobile, but what you're showing us here is like equally impressive.
Yep.
It's cool. And then here's your Yakima hops.
Yeah, there they are. That's actually some CO2 extract. So we use extract, we use T90 pellets, we use cryo pellets, all the full spectrum of hops.
Jeremy, I'm the son of German immigrants. So
Got brewing in your veins?
brewing and beer are naturally in my veins. More so on Friday and Saturday nights. After a couple of Four Giants.
Indeed.
Couldn't resist. Oh, here we go.
All right, so yeah, like I said, this is kind of designed to be, well, you can bring groups through here. They want to see, we want to show this off. Like I said, 300 barrels of automation.
Hold on, Trev. This might be proprietary information. I think they got their entire ingredient list here for all your beers.
That's it. That's all
Can
you
we
need.
share that, or is that a trade secret?
That's all you need, man.
Okay. Oh, awesome. Yes, this is now. Okay, let me just interject here. Probably most people, if you have the fortune of taking a Founders Brewery tour, no one's told me this, but this is probably where you get to go. It's beautiful. It's impressive. It's awesome. What we just walked through, they probably don't just run everyone through.
Nobody's allowed down there.
So what you just did, it's thank you. But let's continue.
For sure. So exactly the same as what I showed you on the 30, just 10 times as big and a lot more automation. The grist case lives up top there.
Yep.
It's got its own mill room. That thing fills up, and then it's got 2 augers, so that you can get them all that much faster into the mash lauter tun.
Steinecker, a fine German name. Is this all imported from Germany?
Probably hot.
It's working.
There it is. It's in action.
Get in there.
It's hot though.
That's the future beer. How long will this mash stay in here?
In this vessel right here?
Yes.
A couple hours.
Yep.
It'll get you do the conversion, and then you'll start running it off into the kettle.
And the whole purpose of this is just converting those fermentable sugars down, or
starches
starches
into sugars,
into fermentable, so the yeast can do their next step. Super cool. And they got all these blades just to keep it from getting stagnant, right?
Right. Mix
So
it up.
Slow process. Beautiful.
Yep. Careful. Again, it's hot. There's kettle, which looks like we're getting ready to fill, probably.
There you go.
Empty kettle, but
Sure, but well, it just shows you what's in there below what we just saw, right?
Yep. That's what's going to come into here. So,
Oh.
and then a whirlpool tank as well, just like on the 30 barrel.
So these are, you can open these. So Jeremy, are you part of the process? Like, do you open and look in here, and do you like whirlpool tank? Would you dry hop through here?
No more hops get added here. All the hops in these vessels will get added to those hop doses below. So
I got
no
you.
reason to open these doors unless you're inspecting at the end of the week or cleaning or something. But yeah, it's they're amazingly capable of running themselves for the most part.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Yeah. That wasn't how it was when you started.
Oh no. No, and that was hard for me too, to try to let go of all that, right? Just trust that the that the program's doing what it's supposed to do.
I believe you.
You learn to rely on your sense of smell and hearing and seeing, and when that's all kind of taken away and you're put behind a computer screen, it was different. It was getting used to it.
I believe it. I believe it.
All right. Well, let's look at the tanks, the giant tanks that go with this brew house.
We haven't seen those yet.
Nope, they're at the far end of the building.
Now we're gonna go see the giant tanks.
We'll go see the big one. So you want to put about 4 turns of this. So they're 1,200 barrels fermenting volume, 1,500 working volume.
What's your favorite beer?
Oh gosh, I think that the once a year that we make our harvest ale, that's one of my favorites. That's a wet hot beer. It's made with hops that aren't even dried. They come right off the vines to us, and we put them in the beer and make just an amazing hop forward beer. So that's a special treat once a year. If it's a normal day and I'm drinking beers at my house, it's probably one of our hoppier varieties, maybe a lower alcohol one. All day gets consumed a lot at my house.
Sounds like what you're describing there for sure.
So you can see, you get a glimpse of these giant tanks.
Wow!
We put 12 over here and 9 over here for a total of 20 something. But yeah,
21 of the giants.
right.
Wow! You should name your beer 21 Giants. It's like 4 Giants.
That's a line extension.
That's awesome.
Yeah, dropped them in with cranes through the roof. It was all real impressive. This whole thing, I honestly just watching all this come together was a real treat. So the cans will come down the line.
Yep.
The filler is down on that end. You know what? I'm great with the filler from here.
Sure. That's fine. I mean, we can see the cans. You're going from a large volume to a single row coming back.
To one line.
So they're full.
One
at
very
that
fast
point.
moving line. The depalletizer at the other end.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we got 30, 60, 90 cans of beer every push. Look at that. All day IPA, all day long. Wow. The majority of what gets shipped not in barrels is cans over
It
bottles.
is. So this is the bottling line over on this side.
Yeah.
Looks like they probably are setting up for a line. Loading that thing up with some empty case boxes.
Yep.
They'll probably be running that next shift.
Mm-hmm.
But the cans are definitely predominant to bottles these days.
Yeah.
But we still have some brands that I feel like, the presentation aspect of it. KBS, breakfast
Yeah,
stout.
that's
I mean,
true.
a can of that, maybe it would be cool, but it's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
These pictures are taken from the gypsum mines where we ate some of our barrel-aged beers.
All right.
So
This is where you bring your KBS series, huh?
Yep, another view here. That's where we fill kegs. We're not doing it right now, but there's a pretty cool robot that grabs the kegs off the line, spins them upside down.
Mm-hmm.
He's pretty cool.
Gotcha.
He's got to stay in that cage though.
Yeah.
Don't give him a name either, because we don't want to.
Oh yeah, he does not to recognize
No.
himself every point of time. Go on, Charlie.
Try to keep control around here.
Well, this has been fantastic, Jeremy.
Awesome, thank you.
I know you've got a million things on your plate. You guys have this big event this past weekend.
Yeah,
what
we
was
did.
that specifically?
It was the 20th anniversary of KBS.
20th
So
anniversary.
for 20 years ago, we released that beer for the first time. So we put a couple special beers on tap, a couple KBS variants, and threw a big party with rock and roll all night. And,
Right.
It was a lot of fun.
And do you have any of those KBS variants left over? Or are they
They are. There's a
select?
few on tap. Yeah, you should go check them out.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what we're going to do after this, we're actually going to grab a bite to eat
There you
here. Guys, if you ever are in Grand Rapids, even if you can just go in the tap room, it is something to experience, just to walk around this building. This brewery is literally a city block. They have these amazing glass windows where you can see those giant fermenting tanks. But Jeremy, your time is valuable, and we don't take it lightly. We so appreciate you giving us a first-hand tour. You could have given this to any one of the members of your staff, but the Brewmaster at Founders took us, all of us, on this one-on-one tour.
All of you.
So, yeah, for sure. Thank
It's
you.
a pleasure, Mike.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
It's an honor to meet you, and I hope our paths cross again.
I bet they will.